Now, in 2000, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first legitimate article to ever be released by the New York Times on UFOs was 2017. Is that right?
No.
No?
The Times did a lot of reporting on UFOs over the years, so I definitely wouldn't call it the first legitimate article. The Times has a long history, both covering this field and ignoring certain things in this field, both. But if you go back into the archives, the Times was reporting on UFO incidents, way back to Kenneth Arnold and Roswell, of course, and all the things that happened in the 40s and the 50s, the 60s, throughout history. So I would definitely not call my article or our article, because I collaborated with two fellow reporters, the first, but it did open up some new avenues, let's say. It was a groundbreaking article in the sense that it exposed this unknown unit of the Pentagon, ATIP, Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, which no one knew existed. And with the release of the 3 Navy videos that came along, 2 and then 3, that came along with that, I guess it kind of changed the tone or the paradigm to suggest that mainstream media was taking this field seriously.
Right. So the 2017 article, for people who aren't familiar, is the one where you talk, or the videos or the radar videos were released from the pilots who were operating the Super Hornet fighter jets, and they captured the Tic Tac craft that was going at thousands of miles per hour, which was estimated almost colliding with one of the Super Hornets at one point. What was it about that article that made it so groundbreaking?
Well, first of all, we exposed the fact that the Pentagon had been tracking UFOs, even though the government said it was out of the UFO business with Project Blue Book in 1970. So the government obviously has not been straightforward with us throughout. It said that it closed the book, Blue Book, on UFOs, 50 years ago. Whereas this secret unit, ATIP, was operating in the Pentagon, tracking UFOs and collecting information. It started in 2007 under another name and continued. Well, today it continues to the present under another name. But so we revealed the fact that the government was continued to be interested in UFOs. That was interesting. We revealed that Lou Elizondo, the head of the program, was resigning in protest against the lack of support he was getting within the Pentagon. And that was groundbreaking. And then to suggest that, or to show in the videos that the Navy had actual physical evidence that these things existed, was groundbreaking. I mean, for a long time, people were dismissing UFOs as mental aberrations, fly specks on the windshield, marsh gas, the planet Venus, you name it. But all the thousands of accounts by people, throughout the years, certainly gave the lie to that, but the government never admitted it. So now the government was saying, yes, we have a unit, investigating UFOs, and here are, Navy videos. They weren't the whole videos. We only got parts of them, but what we got was very interesting.
So how did the article like when you guys first began working on it? What were those conversations like?
Okay, this is how it came about. In October 2017, my colleague, Leslie Kane, who was not at the New York Times, but was a preeminent, or probably the preeminent UFO reporter, investigative reporter who had written an excellent book in 2010 called UFOs, the Generals and Pilots That Go on the Record, which was a very, very meticulous and well-grounded account of how other governments, particularly in Europe and South America, were researching the UFO phenomenon. Anyway, she and I were in touch because she had been the companion of Bud Hopkins, who had gotten John Mack interested in UFOs. And we'll go into that story down the line. But anyway, so Leslie and I had been in touch for some years. And in October 2017, she told me she had just attended a meeting in Washington with Lou Elizondo, who was quitting as head of this ATIP, that this organization existed, ATIP, that we didn't know about, and that we could probably get these, she saw, and we could probably get these Navy videos of some of the encounters. So I realized this was big news. We didn't know that this organization existed. Had been, Harry Reid, the then Senate Majority Leader, had gotten the funding for this. We told that story. And so we took the story to the New York Times. I still knew a lot of editors there. I had left, as I said, in 2009, but I still knew people there. And it was an easy sell. The story about a secret Pentagon, unit investigating UFOs, and the director quits because he's not getting enough support. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And I should say, Danny, that we had all this on the record. We had no anonymous sources. We had the names of everybody we talked to. All the officials were, speaking on the record. We had the documentation. We had Lou Elizondo's resignation letter. We had an official comment from the Pentagon, which another colleague we worked with, Helene Cooper, Pentagon correspondent, had gotten from the Pentagon saying, yeah, this organization did exist. So we had this nailed down. So it was not a hard sell to the New York Times, and they put it on the front page on Sunday, December 17th. The rest is history.
Wow. Were these pilots at all discouraged from talking about this kind of stuff for the first time? What was your feel from them?
I think they were wary. Now they're not, by the way, because of the reporting that has since come out. But at the time, there was a little reluctance to speak because traditionally, pilots who reported these encounters, both commercial pilots and military pilots, were referred to the psychiatrist. They knew that it was a career killer to report these incidents, which, by the way, were common. But it wasn't sanctioned, let's say, and certainly not encouraged to report these encounters. But as time went on and we followed up with some other stories, the Navy and the Air Force a little bit later did encourage pilots to come forward. And now they say they want the pilots to come forward to report these encounters because they need them for the database.